Tom, I think Derek's good. It's like big English. Yeah. My brother's severe. Some days he's been on the he didn't really try to be fortunately, I'll stop one. Although she still thinks she has this pain in her jaw that's related to the other thing is
no, you know, you sent that letter.
I had a call from Laura. I tell you what, you got a good call. It was quite bad.
You know, I told you couldn't say he's back too far, but they look real good.
So what they got to say? I think they don't agree. That's a secret right there.
Some brothers produce any doctor recent.
Yeah, that's
We'll be more than happy to look at them as of right now.
Go all over the bone. Yeah. Just no comment. That's the work. There's no real reason. It just is.
No, this is, no, just like a stamp, safe stamp. They want us to maintain the backside.
I will say I did butcher it.
Well, Dan is working down reducing dosage.
But she didn't have the some of those, there were, and they're all 6 years old as far as I understand. They've already expired. We actually met. What's your group with? Folks out there. And then we ventured over to look at this is maybe the third time they try once in a while. A few years later, they try.
The new person in that position.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Whenever they do that. Unfortunately, the rules
I left a little bit of
Chuck on the phone.
maybe with the shoulder.
Don't get out there and Karen would snap out of her.
That's that.
They've done a good job in the yard, so try to maintain it.
That was that time of the year.
One of them was an F, the other one was a B. 304B and 304F. It's like, we reduced it down so it don't come to the order. Yeah, but what's the inevitable? So they reduced their rate to say $25. I'm still being.
I ran in all my.
There's some corner of the county.
Every one of them.
Stacey Abrams.
Yeah, exactly. It's close to that.
To Spain last.
So,
It's
and it wasn't any
Graduation of Spanish.
something about the biological life.
And
Or he enjoys it at the right level.
30 years. They were graduated. Should be nice.
Well, luckily, the guy that's in my class, chief of defense. Chief of defense. So he's number one.
I would like to tell you, I've had a
It's another golden rule if you're
He's our own.
We never done.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Madison County Board of Commissioners regular business meeting agenda, March 28, 2022, 6:03 p.m. Gentlemen, in front of you, we have a copy of the minutes from February 28th regular business meeting and the minutes from March 7th agenda work session. Just for the record, Frank May is not here. He gave me a phone call about 3:20 today and had an emergency situation with one of his children and just headed to Eggleston. No, Scottish Rights.
Yep.
Yep. So please stand for a pledge. take a minute, look over that, look over the minutes, and, if I hear no discussion, I'll ask for a minute, motion to approve minutes from February 28th and March 7th.
Move the minutes of both sessions be approved as amended.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Chandler, second by Mr. Doster.
Yes.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Dennis, yes?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen. Business involving guest groups and multiple visitors. Do we have one here? Anybody here to speak? All right. Hearing none. Chairman's report. We have a proclamation for the National Library Week. This is not on agenda item, it's under mine.
It's on the chairman's report.
Yeah. So we have a proclamation for the National Library Week. I would like to read that. Whereas libraries are accessible and inclusive places that foster a sense of connection and build community. Whereas the Madison County Library connects people to technology, providing access to broadband internet, computers, and hotspots that are critical for accessing education and employment opportunities. Whereas libraries offer opportunities for everyone to connect with the new ideas and become their best self through access to multimedia content, programs, and classes in addition to books. Whereas today's libraries and their services extend far beyond the four walls of the building, and everyone is welcome to use their resources. Whereas in the time of crisis, libraries and library staff play an inevitable role in supporting the communities both in person and virtually. Whereas libraries strive to develop and maintain programs and collections that are as diverse as the populations they serve and ensure equity of access for all. Whereas to adapt to our challenging world, libraries are expanding their resources and continuing to meet the needs of their patrons. Whereas the libraries have long served as a trusted and treasured institution for all members of the community, regardless of race, ethnicity, creed, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or socioeconomic status. Whereas libraries are the cornerstone of democracy, promoting the free exchange of information and ideas for all. Whereas librarians, and library workers are joining library supporters and advocated across the county, across the nation, to celebrate National Library Week. Now, therefore, it be resolved, the Madison County Board of Commissioners proclaim National Library Week, April 3rd through the 9th, 2022. During this week, I would encourage all residents to connect with the library by visiting online or in person to access the resources and services. Gentlemen, do I have a motion to adopt this proclamation?
Point of order, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move that to new business, that way if there's any statements or remarks from citizens on agenda items prior to our vote. And I got no opposition to it, I think it's more appropriate since we're gonna vote on it.
That'd be fine. Wage study projection completion date is June 30th. As y'all have seen many emails going back and forth compiling a list of surrounding counties. We are not only looking at population, we are looking at infrastructure as far as businesses that pertain to very similar to what we have here in the county. Madison County is a unique county due to the population and the very not having very many businesses, that it's going to be very tough to compile that list. May 2nd, Highway 281 shutdown. There will be a meeting on April 11th at 6 p.m. The public meeting, we decide?
It's here.
Yes. That public meeting will be held here in the government complex on April 11th at 6 p.m. Diamond Hill ball fields are nearing completion. We have done a complete overhaul of the accessibility between the ball fields. I would like to tell you that the slanted steps going down to the lower field, the best of my recollection was there 40 years. They were slanted when I was going down as a kid. So now they are ADA acceptable with new handrails, concrete slabs, more seating. I would like for anybody and everybody to take a look at the good work that was completed by Donald Construction. April 25th, Hall Consulting will be presenting a presentation during our regular business meeting. Comrie and Mess Station. The slab will be poured Wednesday, March 30th. The plumbing is in, the footings are done, and we'll be progressing with the slab, and then the next will be standing walls, gentlemen. Recreation Department update. So this is something we've never done before. Roman Strickland felt like I would enjoy seeing the amount of work that's been put in at the rec department. So I asked him to compile a list of a few things. Sammy Haggard Park, the trail issues have been solved in regard to the erosion that was taking place. Pressure washing of the batting cages is complete. Other facilities at the park will be cleaned as soon as the weather's better. I think all that has been took place because I've had this for over a week. The concessions areas are clean and ready to go for the up and coming season. Goals ahead: to have all building pressure washed and painted by June playoffs, depending on weather. Just for your knowledge, Diamond Hill ball fields were vandalized by the concession stand back in December 2020. The camera system that we put in at Diamond Hill, they was only live for 2 weeks and when we caught those vandals. So they have been repaired and is ready for spring ball. The old well house has been reduced down and it now has a tabletop for safe usage. Goals ahead: painted and pressure wash by May, weather depending. Mize Park has been pressure washed and concession stand is ready for spring. Goals ahead: fixing walking trails in 3 weeks and painted by May, weather depending. Brewer Phillips is to be on the pressure wash list, also along with the concession stands by game day ready, which has already been completed. Most of these items are over a couple of weeks old, but my hat's off to those gentlemen. Our rec department facility manager has done an excellent job. That's Roman, Brian, and Andrew. Zach, if you need the last names, I'll give them to you, but they've done an excellent job. Statements and remarks from citizens on tonight's agenda items. All right, moving into old business. Consider the First Amendment to contract for inmate medical services. Mike knows more about this than anybody, because he put most of it together.
I wouldn't go that far, but I know more than, I guess, the insurance agent and the sheriff. This all came about when we, were doing our insurance through the summer. They're reviewing new underwriters reviewing contracts. Realized we needed to add some insurance and indemnity provisions to the sheriff's contract for inmate medical services. We've gone, of course, you guys maybe remember last month you approved a new contract that everyone on our side thought that the provider, Care had agreed to, but then they refused to sign. And said they would prefer to do a simple amendment that didn't have as many changes, just address those primary issues of insurance and indemnity, which this does. I now have it in writing from them that they agreed to this. And so this is being presented as an alternative to what you approved last month. Is that short enough?
That's perfect. Anybody have any questions for Mike on that? All right, hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve the First Amendment to the contract for inmate medical services.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Doster, do I have a second? Second by Mr. Kirk. Any discussion, gentlemen?
The issue on these dates, correct?
Dates should be correct. They actually signed it retroactive to January 1, 21. And I have told the chief deputy that, he needs to make sure he gets the notice of non-renewal to him timely to terminate this contract before it renews for 23, so that it can either be renegotiated with this provider or they go with another one.
Terry?
Yes.
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 Thank you, gentlemen. Motion carries. Consider American Rescue Plan Act funding for negative economic impact work. We briefly discussed this the other night. We tried to put everything together for everyone to show the numbers in actuality. I know when I originally brought this up to you all a few weeks ago, I had just included the sheriff's office, EMS, and jail 911 employees. But I felt that was very unfair, because a lot of offices inside this building should have been deemed necessary. Our tag office could not close. Our office staff could not close. Our HR could not close. So I felt it was only fair to look at all of our employees. Keeping in mind that the American Rescue Plan funding come from the federal government. And we know these ladies and gentlemen received funding to the sheriff, EMS, jail 911, but it did not apply to those deemed non-essential. Well, and volunteer firemen, what's on this list. But I will tell you, gentlemen, that I don't think we have an office in this building that's non-essential. Had they been non-essential, we wouldn't be working on every day. And I'm very proud of the staff we have in this building, and I think the funds indirectly are taxpayer funds, and I say that loosely, it's coming from the federal government. But I would like to see that the full-time employees, which we only have 88 of them, the 13 part-time employees, and then the volunteer firemen for this county, for $300, be awarded those same funds as the essential workers were deemed. I ask this in the form of a motion, gentlemen.
I was looking for the motion to proceed with the, in line with what you have presented to us,
Second.
distribution of these funds as you have presented.
I have a motion by Mr. Chandler, a second by Mr. Kirk. Any discussion, gentlemen?
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Certainly, I think it should be, if we can at all, but are we in bounds to include volunteers in this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just want to make sure.
That was double checked and triple checked, because I think I had questioned it, and I think maybe Derek had questioned it, somebody questioned it also, and I reached out to ACCG, and the negative economic impact honestly was the exact same way that the governor was able to use ARPA, not ARPA, AARP money. So, that ain't me. Pardon me. Any other discussion, gentlemen? All right, Mr. Kirk.
Yes.
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 Gentlemen, you don't know how proud that makes me right there. Wow, good job. Discuss approving a referendum for liquor by the drink to be placed on the next election cycle. Did you get the dates from Tracy Dean? Mike might know those.
Ooh, I'm sorry, I don't off the top of my head.
General election's November 8th.
Yeah, and that would be, that might be the next one. I think there are 4 special election dates this year, and there might be one before, a date before then. There may not be an actual election being held on that day, and you wanna do this in conjunction with another one, I would think, so you don't have to pay the extra expense of a standalone election for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. Keep in mind, gentlemen, all this is a vote to have it added to the ballot so the public can decide. This has been a very hot topic over the years. I think I've sat through 2 or 3 of them. Zach, you may recall better than me. And it seemed like they all had fell short of the ballot due to potential moral obligations. I get it, except for this is something the voters should decide. So I would ask in the form of a motion.
We just got it to discuss tonight.
Okay, good deal. No, I'm sorry, my bad, you're right. It's been a long day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm tired, I'm sorry. New business.
In regards to this, however, I think I would be more inclined to be accepted as a more favorable position to move it to the Board of Elections if we've got the ironed out resolution or ironed out ordinances prior to.
Right.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
That'd be more preferable to me, that we've got the ordinance that we feel that we can put in front of the constituents and the citizens prior to this going, so everybody knows exactly what's the anticipation and intention is as it moves forward.
Mike, will you structure something for us to that effect?
Just about done, I believe.
Yeah, well, I was about to say, the chairman's and his staff, they've done yeoman's work rewriting the alcohol ordinance for you already without this, so, yeah, it's easier than it would have been. We would have to go back and put in the distilled spirits parts, but, with Christina's help, I will do that, yeah.
Well, personally, I don't feel that we're under a time strain. We're
Okay.
not. So this is something that won't take place for several months either way. If we vote on it next month or even the next month, I do agree with Derek, and thank you for that, Derek. It does need to be in clear black and white, so it is clearly defined to the public that reads it. I appreciate
We're
that.
targeting November's election for this.
Yeah, cause the primary for,
Well, I definitely would be opposed to a special election for me.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a non-starter. I mean,
so we've
We
got
don't
the,
have just an election with
the beer and wine ordinance, we'll discuss it at the beginning of, next week, April, and then you guys will vote on it at the end of the month. So I can add the referendum to be discussed at the end of April, or do you want me to wait till May? I don't know what
No,
Tracy being.
No hurry.
Okay.
I'll just get with Tracy to verify that it is late. I do agree. Let's sort of get through the first process first, we'll make the amendments and go to the second.
Okay.
That suits you, Mike?
That's good.
Find out from her when we need to have it in final form.
Yeah, I think May will be fine, but, yeah, I agree, let's just verify it with Tracy.
Right, and we wanna make sure that we got time so that folks can look at it before, plenty of time.
And from a process standpoint, I think generally our renewals come towards the end of the year, correct?
Yes, sir.
So it may need to be a provisional question on a renewal application, or would that be a new application for the, my point being is if the voters vote on the 1st of November and we're,
Yeah, we've already gotten those packets started processing them, but received them back for renewals, for licensing.
But that would be only for, that would be for package, that's only package, that's not drink.
Right, we don't have a class license, there wouldn't be a renewal of a license for distilled spirits, because there's not one right now, so.
That'd have to be a new
so it's a new
application.
application.
Different application.
Yeah, and I think that's probably, maybe part of what we have to, well, the application form may not change, other than there would be the addition of a Class F license, I guess, for spirit, for distilled spirits, not a drink.
So if it is passed, will we just have people to come back in that wanna sell it by the drink?
Right.
And maybe do, instead of a full renewal fee, there's just a one-time, for 2023?
Well, but one thing we gotta do is come up with the fee for that new class of license.
Yeah,
So maybe what we could do is, so it would be in December that the board would actually approve those, right?
right,
So that would leave from the election until whenever that meeting in December is, people can come in and amend their application, pay that additional fee,
okay.
and,
That's right.
yeah.
You might want to, I don't know, that, to me, it's just two separate issues. I mean, package stores in general not really doing alcohol by the drink, so we may want to consider an effective start date and then create a window of time for people to come back in and make that application. I mean, a pending voter approval, then we could say that we would allow this would begin on March 1.
Because, of course, we have people who get licenses mid-year anyway,
Yeah.
so,
Just create a window of time
yeah,
between approval and the date that it would effectively be allowed to begin.
yeah, could do that.
Sounds like a plan, guys. Thank you so much. Moving on to new business. So now, for the library staff, I would ask for a motion to approve this proclamation for the Madison County Library staff.
Move this proclamation be approved as read.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Chandler, second by Mr. Kirk. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Go support the library.
Right.
Deal. Derek? Dennis?
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. And we appreciate the library very much.
Harry.
The best looking one up
Get a
here.
picture.
Yeah.
We actually have
Hello.
3 board members here and a potential board member that you'll be seeing.
Then we'll be mentioning.
Well, I tell you what, just for paper, for picture purposes, come on up.
Come on up.
Come on up, Kate.
You're next on the agenda to approve. I don't want to do another.
Sounds like you're a shoo-in.
I was gonna say, no, I'm not so nervous.
I don't know, I'm concerned about Katie Morris, there's already redactions on her. This looks like trouble to me.
I don't know who needs it.
I'll scoot you in.
Wait.
Turn it right side up, Mike.
Her husband both of them, she-
All right. 1, 2, 3. Perfect, give us a smile.
Alright.
Y'all.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank y'all very much.
Yes, sir. You still want me appointed to a board?
Give me the same answer I gave you last time.
Yeah, I thought about it, but I didn't write it.
Yes, sir.
I called Judge Rice the other day, and as soon as he said hello, I said, would you like to sit on the board? And he said, the short answer is no.
What's the long answer?
2 words.
Go ask what you call it.
But,
Consider appointing Katie Morris to the Library Board of Trustees.
I move this act to be approved.
Second.
And I was going to present her, but y'all have already met her. She is a member of Rotary. She is a great asset to that organization, just like I know she will be to the library board.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for offering yourself to serve.
And I think as Dennis has already said, she's got a great resume.
Yeah, pretty impressive there.
So
I would except for the Florida part.
Well, her husband went off.
What? So I have a motion by Mr. Chandler. Do I have a second?
You're Mr. Kirk.
Brian?
Yeah.
Okay. And now it's on Dennis.
Yes.
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 Thank you, gentlemen. Welcome aboard, young lady.
Yes. And we're glad to have you. We hate that you're gonna feel bad after Georgia beats Florida.
I know, I always do.
We appreciate your
Yes, sir. Thank you
recognition
so
for
much.
the library. I've got to run to the concession stands at the soccer game. Tonight is a big game for the girls tonight.
Thank you.
All right.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, consider 2021 budget amendments. I think they broke these out, you did give them a breakout copy. Facility 11, Chairman, Clerk, Deputy, Human Resources, Facility 22, Board of Elections and Registration, Facility 39, Probate Court, Facility 80, Senior Center, Facility 87, Rec Department, Facility 94, Code Enforcement, Facility 95, Planning and Zoning and Building Inspection. And we knew that most of these was going to be over, initially, well, I say that. We knew it because we created code enforcement, changed planning and zoning, added some people. Everything is complete kosher.
So I assume that under one of these, that, I'm just asking just for information where this recovery of the hard drives, I guess we got new computers there, didn't we? I hope.
Well, we had budgeted well, hang on, let me think about that. 'Cause we had budgeted for a new server last year and didn't need it. We ended up using that this year, so it wouldn't be in here.
That was for Eddie's computer, where everything.
Oh, yes.
So I don't know
yes.
what happened to his computer, Thomas had to go in and retrieve everything. I'm not sure what they replaced it with.
Well, okay, I just think,
Yeah.
yeah. Cause I just noticed that, as you discussed earlier about the server we have now, since it won't hold, you got to send multiple emails with attachments on. We probably need to be looking at that kind of stuff. That's neither here, that's what I often say.
Who is Katie?
I second
Facility Aid Senior Center.
it. It's a problem.
Good. It is a problem for you too?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and for the people here as well, we can't,
Yeah.
we can't send documents back and forth like we need to.
We need to address that.
Back on facility 222, the board of elections, those funds were not used in 20, were rolled over to 21?
Correct,
Or they were just not utilized?
correct. Yes, sir. But to clear for the audit purposes, we had to show it.
So it's not an additional expense? it's
No,
just-
sir. No, sir.
I like the way the jails, I like the way that works.
Yeah, I think they need recognition for that. So 2021 amended jail commission budget. And I'm not only proud that we've got a great sheriff's department, but the working relationship with the sheriff's department. They expended, in the jail commission budget, they expended $50,000, but had a receivable of $84,000. To go public with those kind of numbers is huge. That says a lot about your sheriff, and it says a lot about his staff. Because normally, if you bring in 84, they're gonna spend 83,999, but not our sheriff. So I'm very proud of Michael and his whole team for showing that. Any questions I might be able to answer, gentlemen?
Remind me what we bought in facility 87, I think.
We've got those.
So this was the small farm tractor that we had budgeted for in 20. It was budgeted for in 20, wasn't purchased till 2021. I think they had to do a rollover.
87 is right department.
Rec department.
Yes.
The change in those tractors at the road department did not require budget amendment.
No, sir. You know, if you look at this budget, or you look at the amendments, based off of a full year of working with $20 million, and if you miss it by $100,000, you've done pretty good, considering it was a COVID year. All I can say is good job, guys. What is it?
What is this facility 03?
That's a capital outlay. Sorry, I
Okay,
forgot to write that one on those
okay.
thing.
So that was just moving them to the proper location.
It actually just rolled over again. We still have not made that purchase. That money's been rolling for several years
So that,
under capital outlay.
okay. For a server and a washer dryer.
Correct.
And that's.
I move to approve the budget amendments as presented.
So, have a motion by Mr. Doster, second by Mr. Adams. Any other questions, gentlemen? Hearing none?
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Good job again. Discuss seal bid for tree and stump removal for Lim Edwards Road. So we only had one bid come in, gentlemen. And I don't know, personally, did we give the correct wording? Did y'all get a copy of that?
No, I don't.
Are the wording on it?
Well, yeah, the wording is the difference between proposal one and proposal two. I think proposal one is to completely, clear and grub, and proposal two is just to take the trees down, leave them laid. Where I felt like maybe we, after looking at it after the fact and seeing the dollar figures on it, I felt like maybe we need to go back out with a more defined RFP. As to what part of it that Madison County can do, because, you know, we could do our own flagging. We don't need to pay a flagging crew. We can also do our own trucking if they load it. You know, we can narrow this down some.
How many miles are we talking about?
It'll go from Lynn Medford over into Oglethorpe County.
It's not for two,
Yeah, it's
two
not
point
far.
something. You need to go get the bids, I know exactly where they're at. You can go get them?
Yeah, that's good point.
Yeah, get that.
Right, well,
But what I would ask is let's hold up on this until we design.
I agree, based on what I see here.
That's right. Yeah, until we design a new RFP and determine what we can and can't do.
I would like.
The challenging part is we could do it all. The problem is we don't have manpower. We have the equipment, we have some staff, but I have other things going on.
So is that first proposal, does that include like mulching that,
Yeah, it's taking it all out.
taking it all and mulching it?
I think it's about 2 miles.
That's
No,
what I
it's
was going
closer
here.
to.
2.51 miles
Two.
in length and 60-foot right of way.
That's a little right, I mean, you're talking about just a little bit of additional on either side.
Right.
If you ride Lim Edwards, it is flagged. They have caution tape up.
We
It
did
should be
the,
a 30-foot setback.
we wrote the RFP for them to clear the full 60-foot.
But the middle of it's already clear, there's not trees in the middle of the road.
Right.
No, but a lot of it's gonna be technical, because you want to drop them, when you can't just take a dozer and push them over.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and a lot of them are right on the white line.
I'm not opposed to re-looking at this,
Okay.
reject the bids and reconsider the.
So I'll ask for a motion to table this until we revisit,
So move.
or just deny. Or better.
Yeah, if you wanna put out a new RFP, you need to
Just
reject
tonight.
that, you need to
Okay.
reject all bids, or the one bid you got.
Or if you want time to consider it, then postpone it a month for, and then,
Okay,
if we don't accept it then, we have to reject, or we need to reject it then.
Right.
yeah, we'll do
Did
that.
did you get 2 proposals or one?
It's one proposal, two bid breakdowns. So option number 2, the 225,000 was for tree cutting, debris removal and site stabilization for erosion control and temporary grassing.
Yeah. And your language is alternatives, not 2 proposals.
Yeah, it was actually an alternative.
Yeah.
what was the additional thing that was gonna be done in the first proposal?
For the first one, it was tree cutting, debris removal, stump removal, and backfill, site stabilization, erosion control, and temporary grass.
So stump and backfill.
Yep, the stump removal and backfill is the price difference.
I feel more comfortable if we had something to compare this to.
Yes, I agree.
If the way I do it, if I know I'm the only bidder, my price tends to go up.
Well, now you gotta keep in mind, they did not know they were gonna be the only bidder.
Yeah.
Just so happens it was. I have heard from several people after the fact that did not necessarily wanna take on a project this large, but they felt like that was a little steep.
How much time would we give them to do it?
We asked for a time frame of project completion.
What did they?
Honestly, I've seen the price and that was as far as I went.
But if
We
we
got a
table,
list of equipment to be used.
if we table this tonight, we can email you that proposal, and that way everybody can read it and see it, because we just won't make a move, and then we can reject it like you said, the next one.
Whole 60
That would
feet.
be good.
That's $12,500 current acre. Yeah. That's considerably above clearing cost.
Yeah, but it's a different
Yeah.
type.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't look at
I
that
get-
thing.
and that-
I mean, I'm not saying this isn't don't need to be looked at, but.
And I get it's different, I just did some simple math, and I figured a full 60-foot right of way, but you really only talk about maybe 20 feet on either side of what the road is paved. If you figure full 60 feet, that's 18 acres, that works out to $12,500 per acre.
The public is gonna have to really bear with us on this road, because the root system on some of the bigger trees is what's actually destroyed the road, because they're set right up on it. And when they get ready to do the root removal, it's gonna tear the road all pieces.
Well, and the other thing, I mean, it's like,
Temporary.
you're
You're like
saying.
pulling them stumps out the bank and stuff and packing that back in to get it whole, get grass to grow on it.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, while you're doing the work, you still got people going through the road, so they're gonna have to have flagging crews and doing stuff like that, safety.
You're not gonna have to do half of it and turn it to the other half.
And they'll have to have somebody, I mean, you'll have to have somebody there to manage the.
Work from the middle out or something.
The road department already get the right of ways?
Yes. So I'll ask for a motion, gentlemen, to table this matter at this time.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Chandler, second by Mr. Dolster. Brian?
Yes.
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 Thank you, gentlemen. Road updates, just a few. How about you, Dennis?
No, I will say the guys did a good job on Martin Griffith Road, where we were having ponding on there, they cleared the shoulders, it does drain.
A lot of good and diligent shoulder work done on Foul Food Road and some other good. And I mentioned to tell Derek that the Power Road, through the Bullet Mill over to Colbert Danville is pretty potty. I mean, they've done a really good job showing it up and getting it in shape. It's got a pretty bad potty for both the places where the pipes go up the road. Needs to be readdressed.
That was Powell Freeman?
Power.
Oh, Powell Road.
Yeah, did you get the message about Ingram Hancock Road? It's up there off of Highway 98 next to 106, and it's a dead-end road, but it is a county road. We have verified that, and I think it's simply been overlooked because there's no reason for the motor graders to ever go there because there's no other dirt roads close by. But it has been overlooked for some time.
What's the name of the road?
Ingram,
Oh, yeah.
Hancock.
A question about T-Splosh, I know we got approved, I don't think we've discussed this, but how are the funds being accumulated? Is the thought process for us to accumulate them for a year and know what those dollars are and then apply them the following year?
Well, we haven't started collecting yet. My thought process is we're probably gonna move on some of the projects, even if we have to use reserve and let the reserve be paid back, through the T-Splosh.
So we'll be getting quarterly accumulation to that?
Correct.
It's monthly.
Yeah.
It is monthly?
Yes.
It is monthly, I'm sorry, yes.
So we already have started to accumulate?
No.
No, not yet.
T-Splosh goes in effect for businesses April 1st.
Okay.
And then they have until May the 22nd to send those funds to the state, and then the state will turn around and send them back to us by the end of May.
Okay.
And we can look at our splosh and roughly tell what the T-Splosh, because we have something to figure the money out with.
I was thinking it was beginning January, that's misunderstanding about that.
No one's contacted me about any, other than a few people contacted and said they appreciated that we were moving in the correct direction on completing these roads.
Good deal.
The folks were getting excited about folks got excited about 8th Street Chandler, that railroad getting corrected, so appreciate that. So I'm probably disappointed that we're gonna have to back up and look at the tree clearing, but hopefully they'll understand the price consideration. I did notice today, Frank's not here, but, as you leave the direct red light from Eagle and go across the road, there's a big pothole right there.
Need Sanford.
It's
Oh,
Garage
up where the bank is on the
Yeah.
corner.
Yeah.
You go across.
There's an old garage and gas station on the other side of 4-lane, towards 4-lane.
I know where it's at.
Nice.
Yeah, the
The road
track.
cuts over to Nice right there.
Well, it goes back over to
Norwood, that's what I meant to say, I said Nice, I meant Norwood, yeah, okay, so Norwood.
Yeah, it's just, when you take a right, and catch you quick.
All right, so the road survey is reaching completion, we should have that around the first week in April. As Derek mentioned, HB Chandler Railroad Crossing has been completed. The patch wagon has been out in the county and will continue to catch up on potholes and repairs. Grass cutting along county roads will begin probably in April. Candace Springs Entrance Project has been completed. Long overdue. Did you see it?
I have not stopped, I rode by the day while work was continuing, I did not get out there this weekend like
Yeah,
I wanted
that
to,
is, we may need to look and talk to that developer and ask, you know, what the total details on that is. And you go to Tennessee and those things is everywhere, you don't have culvert pipes. That's a good way, because culvert pipes, you have to move water from point A to point B, they don't do anything with the road, those things do both. And it's basically a grate. DOT spec grade, it's about 1.5 inches thick, about 14 inches wide, 3-foot section, you just drop them in it, watch the water run under it, if you get stopped up, you just lift the grate out, clean it out. But anyway, I saw pictures and it looked like they'd done a good job.
The ditch on one side has been rotted out, the other side has not. I don't know if he has intentions of doing the other side, but.
Yeah, if not, the water's not gonna go anywhere.
Yeah, it's true. It's a level area, so it's not going anywhere anyway.
Based,
Just, as far as like the grass cut, didn't we triggered something about, didn't we have to do something about the tractors that we were using on that? Said that all that,
80s had to be replaced with 110s because of
Yeah.
flooding.
and so it's already, all that's been
It's
done
done.
in the company.
based on Derek's comment about the roots that migrated under the road at Glen Edwards, recognizing that we're gonna be doing something there, and perhaps the folks that did the road survey weren't aware of that. Do we need to maybe ask them just to revisit that road and give us their opinion of, when we do this, this is gonna happen, you know, and just ask them to take a second look at that, because there's probably gonna have to be some remedial work done on this road, either right when you take the trees down, or within 1 or 2 years, because of the roots rotting beneath the pavement.
correct. And I'm making the assumption, since our road department does such a good job, that hopefully they conveyed that conversation, but if they haven't, maybe it's just a
Yeah.
follow-up.
It was a few hours on that conversation. Actually, we did take him out and showed him, he actually gave us some input as to how to attack that, because they've dealt with it in the past. Chris Dills with Neil Schaefer has done a really good job.
I guess too, with that being said, the guys have not had a chance off of Nice Commerce and Lucky Jones Road, that where you turn in there. Here again, there's a couple of folks that live on Lucky Jones that have semis and tractors and trailers that pull in. I'm really concerned that drop off they're gonna hang that
Okay.
valve, there's a valve
Water
box,
valve back there.
hydrant right there next to the road, and we need a culvert extension right there.
No problems. So y'all's lists are much shorter than mine. I would think, Christina, we'd probably we've had 20 or so messages coming about just various potholes. I will say that every one of them was not complaints, they just said, we just want to let you know. And it's very, very good to have that kind of situation. And keeping in mind that what we do is very seasonal on potholes, you know. But if it's a heat mix, Derek probably knows all this. You know, if it's really cold, if it's really raining, we can't fix them until it dries up.
You can't put that stuff in a hole full of
In a hole full of water, no, sir. But, Alan and the guys has done an exceptional job of trying to, shred water, I guess you could say, to keep the potholes filled. I know there's several roads that they're gonna be working on, next week. Wesley Chapel Drive project will be completed Wednesday, March 30.
We're talking to Alan, they're moving the Timberline Trail next, is that correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Now, what worries me there is, and I'm hoping we're past a little bit of the rain, because we have got to take that road back to a subgrade.
That's
And
gonna be a
which,
big project.
it's a big project, and it could be, based on the weather, it could be a very messy project, because those people currently live on a very, very bad road, but it's not a dirt road. You know, they're not gonna be used to that, so, but I'm hoping that we've got the word out to them, and they're fully, actually, they're very excited about it. We just gotta get to it, but it's coming.
What we're doing on the roads, we'd like to bring back up, would love for us to discuss further and hopefully come up with a policy on what we as board will do on these private drives. We need to just,
Also in the works.
It's already in work.
there's just too many of them, and we need to handle all the same, best we can. And I had one school of thought, and Denny had another one. Why should they not be paid?
I was just made aware of one, I think, it must be in, I don't know whose district, I can't remember the road. But,
It's my district.
it's all our districts,
Commissioner
really.
one,
But
Commissioner District One, Denny Adams, made that suggestion.
No, we're laughing because
Well, the
that's
fire-
already been discussed.
the fire departments, well, the director of the, I guess, the president of the fire association said, went down the road and there's 8 houses on it and there's no turnaround
So
whatsoever.
So to that, Lacey took on a project, Todd asked her to try to find all the private drives, and how many, did she say she had found 150?
I don't know where she was at as of today, but I know last Friday she had found 143 roads that that do not have a name on them, and we didn't know about them.
That are like truly private
Yeah,
drives.
I think this
3 or
was
4
like
houses
off of the
long.
Willis Glen Road.
That's on top of the 125 that do have names and we do know about.
Yeah.
So action is in the works, and it's gonna be swift action, and it's gonna be impactful. We cannot continue at the rate we're going when we have a pile that big. We probably got, God, $50 million in dirt
We
roads.
just need a
Well,
policy.
yeah,
We
we
got-
need
we
a
got one
policy,
coming.
and we got to address it because, as Mark said, when you can't get you get a fire truck down there, can't do anything with it, and then you gotta back it out, and then you gotta stack them all back behind.
I believe this is on
And
the
these-
April 4th agenda.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying.
Y'all are fixing to see a pretty good copy coming at you to be able to read.
Chairman has somehow figured out how to get 3 hours of work out of every 30 minutes that his staff has.
Thank you, somebody realizes that.
I will say that Christina did turn to me the other day, and said, you know you're getting a deal. I said, I'm working extremely too hard for this.
And I'll just say this in front of the public here. I told Christina today that, it was exceptional what she's been
Absolutely.
doing, and, I've been here a few years, and the bar has been raised as far as, I guess, expectations and accomplishments to
Thank you.
both.
Appreciate that.
Lacey has done a fine job also, and I
Oh,
sent
yeah.
you gentlemen an email earlier.
Yeah,
Now, I didn't know how to open that thing, but you click on free trial and it'll open up. It's 94 pages long, and these are some zoning issues.
yeah,
We are working on them, I promise you.
yeah.
It's a collaborative effort, but, I don't think Teresa Patton has looked up other than this right here for the past 6 weeks.
Yeah.
She's put that together. It's pretty impressive.
There's a lot of folks, I guess, done. a lot of-
Urgent matters, gentlemen. Statements and remarks from citizens on.
I've got,
Oh, go ahead.
in 2000, do I have to stand? Well,
It doesn't matter, you're fine.
In 2016, I asked the previous chairman if the county would be interested to sell the army trucks which are sitting at the road department. And he mentioned that it was going to be on sale on government.gov.
GovDeals.com.
And 6 years later, they're still there.
We
Is the
have been
county
posting a
interested to sell
lot
them?
here lately for sale, and those will be coming.
Oh, okay. Because
I'll
I
let
have a
you know when they
winery
go
customer, and he was
out.
asking me if the county would be interested to sell them.
We have some that we need shed up.
Okay.
We've been selling about 2 or 3 a month for about a year of old vehicles, just out from up there that we don't use. Be surprised, Crown Vic's bring $1,200, 400,000 miles on it. Did you not? All right, Stephanie.
Was wondering if you knew that when they were gonna start, 172 doing the road work. Is that what they're doing, or shoulder work, or?
They're, I asked Alan about that, they're resurfacing.
Okay.
Do you know when they're supposed to start that?
I do not.
Let me.
I don't know the date on that.
They're working on 174 currently.
Yes, saw them there, I just didn't know, cause we see the signs on 98 and 172, I didn't know where they were going.
I know 98 is supposed to take place this summer.
Okay.
He didn't say when.
Okay.
They're working on 72.
That's starting soon too.
No, they're already out, they're working.
Oh, are they?
They're pulling the shoulders, doing the turn lanes, and what they end up trying to do is kind of work on the outside. And so when you really start on the main line, you can really, because your travel lanes
Okay, good.
are smooth and your seams match. You don't want to seam where a tire would be, it's the edge of the line.
Thanks. Got a lot going on.
That's why we have him, our local engineer. Appreciate it, I guarantee it.
I know the new tool they're using to get the shoulders where the water run off of. There's a lot of mess on that.
All right, any other statements, remarks from citizens? Yes, sir.
First of all, I want to say the HV Chandler repair is great. You know, you can almost roller skate across it. They did a nice job on that, so I'm happy to see that done. Recently, I've made some inquiries about the noise ordinances being developed with arpeggio in the county, and I can't seem to get any information on what kind of progress is being made with that. You know, there are other citizens who suffer from noise still, and even though some things might grandfather in, a good set of noise ordinance would help everybody. But the last inquiry made, I was told I might have to get a Freedom of Information Act. And it just seems to me, if these ordinances are being developed with the county, that we citizens should be able to find out what's going on. So I'd appreciate if the board would do an update at your work session, or allow me to talk to who that were working on it, just to find out what's going on, so I can relate that to people who are asking me, well, what's happening with the noise ordinances?
Yes, I saw your email today,
Okay.
and where you had talked to Christopher, and Christopher wasn't sure if you had to do an open records request because the public hadn't been given the information yet. But honestly, there's very little. I can't pronounce that name.
Appraisal.
Yeah, they're working behind the scenes collecting certain data.
Okay.
But we don't really have an update from them yet.
All right.
So there's really no information to distribute. And as far as an ordinance goes, there is no current ordinance being written because we don't know what we have yet.
Okay. Did we set that up with them? Did we give them a timeline or
I
expectation?
can't recall.
There's a work program that was identified, and I think Christopher worked with him to try to kind of get started. I don't recall off the top of my head, but I think that was in that contract, so, like I said, to my understanding is that, you know, there's data gathering going on, and that will end up with a work product at the end that we'll all have.
And I think Arpeggio said they were going to hold a public meeting too,
Yeah.
when they develop some of these.
Yeah, they just haven't. They're probably like everybody else.
And the reason I came tonight was after being told, well, the Freedom of Information Act, I was also told, you could ask my boss, so I thought I'd come and ask the boss today.
Yeah, it would have been me. And I still,
Thank you.
probably need to reach out to him too, because if we haven't disclosed it to the public, then it sort of kind of is an open records request. But now if I state it, then you can get a copy of it anytime. Problem is, I don't have anything to state it this time.
Okay.
Well, we just need to work with Chris to kind of get some dates for the public input. To kind of separate that from when we get into our public engagement session for our comp plan. That way nobody's confused on it.
And we did ride by there, the other day with, Hall Consulting. We took a tour when we left here, and it was 5:30 before we got back. We showed them everything in the county. They were very appreciative of it. On that day, it just happened to be quiet. We got out of the truck and listened, and she's like, that's the quietest plant I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, not always.
Yeah.
So, all right, statements, remarks, commissioners.
We touched briefly on the driveway ordinance and working on it. I noticed again today that, Ms. Patrick's emails that came out, that we've got a couple more zoning requests to go from A1 to A2s. And if you look at the properties where this is being requested, these properties, if you go back and research at the tax assessor's office, these properties were A2s before that, and then they were broken up before. I think we really, every time someone approaches us with a request like that, one of the things we should be asking is what is your intent with the property? You want it A2 so you can divide it up in 4 or 5 spots, and then just circumvent the request to go RR, or what's the intent here? Because, you know, it doesn't take much riding around in the county to just see this over and over, and it's just, here again, it's just a way to circumvent having to comply with the subdivision ordinances. And that's, we can't just keep kicking that down the road.
That's changing.
Yeah, hopefully that's coming soon. In the interim, if those requests have to be addressed before these changes get in place, and it might be pretty close, one thing the zoning administrator can always do on a rezone is request a site plan. I'm just sort of off the cuff here. But that would be one way to try to get to that, is to say, I've got to have a site plan to go with this application.
All right. Any other comments from commissioners?
On a follow-up question, is there a definition of site plan? I guess, because in my world, when I think that's a pretty thought-through process versus a sketch on blank 8.5 by 11.
I can't remember how well it's spelled out, but in practice, it's been whatever the planning or zoning administrator asked for, and often it has just been a sketch. Well, I say often. The few times it's been exercised, it's usually been a sketch, not an engineered plan.
By mid-April, you'll have something to work off of that'll inevitably curb that.
Right, a bigger solution is coming pretty quick, I think.
Oh.
Part of that solution is that 3-year comeback window.
Yeah, I think we're looking at that too. Christine's gonna help me with my memory. I know we started with one piece. I think I'll take the blame. I suggested we might need to expand it a little bit.
Yeah, so what you're talking about, I haven't had the time to go in for what you recommended to everything that I've put together and move it to where it needs to be.
Yeah.
But that is on my agenda to do this week.
Right.
Yeah. But the private drive ordinance, all that is what I'm sending out tomorrow.
Gotcha, yeah.
And that will kind of fall in line with that.
When the Hall Consultant Group was here last week, I did mention to them that we had discussed moratorium and the fact that Jackson County, Banks County, Hart County already doing that, so for them to have it in the think tank. We could buy some time to get all of this right. I've talked to them some about timing issues, and also they're familiar with it, and see the way that's going. I put that bug in their ear for them.
I think this new ordinance will expose some of that, and not necessarily have to go to a moratorium.
That'd be good.
Yeah, it'll resolve a lot of those problems, I believe.
Yeah, I think, yeah,
Pretty complex.
Okay.
It'll be good.
and I'll be glad to see it. I just hope it's sooner than later. 'Cause
It's coming.
Really, sir.
yeah,
It's coming.
It's tough. I'll just speak for myself and Christine, as chairman can. The balance is always trying to fix as much as we can reasonably quickly while we're going through this process with all consultants. So, you know, you may have your chairman there pushing for a little more, and Christine and I saying that may be too much to ask for.
Well, I'm just saying that, it seems like with the number of requests, what is it, 10 of them next session, that folks are coming in right now. I think they're realizing that maybe some of this, and so they're trying to get.
An issue that I've had that I've expressed to Mike is when we change one thing in one place, it changes in 3 other places. So we're trying to find those 3 other places so we can change them all at one time. So not only have I been working on the VOC ordinance, I'm also working on the subdivision regulation ordinance in the zoning department.
And we're also working creating an ordinance for road construction.
Yeah, so
That
as you,
sets-
and
that sets a minimum.
it's so interesting, because as you read through, you're like, oh, that's not right, you change it, and then you're, oh, this isn't right, well, this is, we don't even have this, we gotta make that, and then continue. So it's a lot, so it may get a little bumpy, trying to work through it.
I understand.
I'm doing the best I can.
I know you are, and I think that shows you're doing that in zoning and even the road department as far as the county moving forward. And I appreciate it. And the only reason I said that about sooner is just because the demands on Madison County have changed. And we've got in a situation in Madison County, I'll just, to say it, that we haven't done anything with zoning in quite a while, and it just needs, it's a big task to fix it.
Let me just say from my perspective, just the realization of what Christina just said, of how complicated it is and those moving parts, that's a level of sophistication you haven't always enjoyed here. So I'm glad to have that.
Yeah, I understand.
Every now and then I've gotta send something like, look, I know this don't sound right, but I need you to fix the words.
I do appreciate that. I appreciate Mike for that, all the things that you've done too.
I'll let you go text.
All right. Executive session to discuss real estate acquisition, personal matters, and potential litigations.
And I think we do have a personnel matter that we need to discuss.
All right, with that being said, I will close the regular business meeting.
Yeah, you have to have a vote, have a motion.
I need a motion to close the regular business meeting and go into executive session.
I just want to say something. Your career.
Motion by Mr. Chandler, second by Mr. Carrick. It's good. All right, we will be coming back in, because we will have to open, I see, we do have to open back the public meeting after we close executive session. I don't think there's gonna be a vote, I don't know.
Okay, I don't know.
I don't know.
Just sit down, Zach.
Yeah, you just take a little siesta. Thank you all.
I didn't even say I talked to a couple people.
I'm doing all right for Monday, how about you?
Back over to walk around. Well, no, because we need to go to mine, because that's easy to replace.
So, I went ahead.
What? You're coming with us in 5 minutes, right? Yeah. We have to come back in here to adjourn, even if we don't do anything else.
Staying in here.
No, we have to.
We're going to the chair.
Somebody else.
It's like going to the principal's office. That was good for me.
I thought you'd be a really good news, from my standpoint.
Yeah, that's amazing. I got 19.
Because it's so out of my hands.
I know, right?
Sorry.
Cleaned up or vacuum while you're in here? Do something.
Hey, we did that early.
Order some food.
That's right.
Charge at the top. That's what you can do, just order food, charge it to the car.
We are back. We're fine.
Zach, there's not gonna be a vote. Thank you, sir.
Until you leave.
Don't tell him that.
I'll watch it.
My son's first soccer game tonight.
New sport.
He done roll off in there, he likes to run, so.
He'll get to run some in soccer, for sure.
That's what my ADHD son, he tried baseball. I think there's still a hole next to second base where he bored kicked and dug it out.
There you go.
So we have closed the executive session and we'll reopen the regular business meeting at this point in time.
And make a motion to approve the executive session minutes.
I'll second it.
Have a motion by Mr. Dawson, second by Mr. Kirk. Dennis,
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Yeah, let's do it.
Christine, thank you.
By the way, guys, that agenda
Thank you,
right there,
Christine.
good job.
Very good. Christine, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Liz, thank you for giving us a copy of the chairman's report items.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
let's
Derek
go.
did mention something
That
about
was
that
Derek's
before,
idea.
and so I was like, let me.
Eric was trying to be forewarned of what that was.
Yeah. Hey,
It's a pleasure.
21.
It's a pleasure. to work
He's
with
gotten a lot better. He can,
Oh,
he never liked taking his medications for it, and I understand, so he,
Good. She's
we
doing
struggled
good.
through high school, but, and struggled through the first year of college.
She's like-
buckled down now.
Most mother-in-laws and mothers that are up in age